give them straw to make brick as you did before. Now they're going to have to get their own straw. You know, I was supplying them with straw to make brick, but no, since you're going to try to lighten their burden, I ain't going to give them no straw no more. They're going to have to get their own straw. Go ahead and read on.
Let them go and gather straw for themselves. And the tail of the bricks which did make hereto, ye shall lay upon them.
Go ahead.
You shall not diminish aught thereof, for they be idle. Therefore they cry, saying, let us go and sacrifice to our God.
Go ahead and read.
Let their more work be laid upon the men, that they may labor therein, and let them not regard vain words.
Go ahead and read.
And the taskmasters of the people went out, and their officers, and they spake to the people, saying, thus said Pharaoh, I will not give you straw. Go ye, get you straw where you can find it, yet not all of your work shall be diminished.
So now you go get your own straw, but you still better make the same amount of bricks you've been making. So now, you know, so what did we had? We had the Egyptians, a dark race of people. They had the Israelites down there in Egypt making brick. Let's show some pictures here, and we're going to read some excerpts. Now, these was taken from Egyptian archives. That's where these pictures was taken from. Let's. We want to show the first one here. There we go, right up there on the screen now. So now, I want him to read. No, it's good. This is the one that's getting the flog in here. He is the slave. This is the Israelite here. Go ahead and read.
In this fresco from a tomb of the New Kingdom. The number of slaves in Egypt increased dramatically during the New Kingdom. 1570 to 1085 BC.
Now this is during the time when Israel was in bondage under the Egyptians. Go ahead and read.
As a result of foreign conquest, the Israelites were enslaved during this period.
Now he said the Israelites was enslaved during this period. Now this is the Israelite here that's being flogged. And who is it that's doing the flogging? It's the Egyptian. I don't see no difference in them, do you?
That's right.
The Israelite looks just like the Egyptian. In other words, it is a dark man being flogged by a dark man. But one is an Egyptian and the other is an Israelite. We got another picture. Bring it up. Bring up picture number 2. That's how it looks. It has a caption under it, and we're going to read that as well. Okay, go ahead and read.
Okay. Brick making captives.
Wait a minute. Wasn't Israel down? Jesus wore a beard. It said bearded foreigners. Go ahead and read on.
Under the supervision of an Egyptian with stick far right.
Wait, under the supervision of an Egyptian with a stick in his hand. That's on the far right. It ain't showing up too clearly there. But go ahead and read on.
Gather water and work mud and straw together into mold. At the top
That's
left.
why they needed straw. You know, to make the mold to make the brick with. They gather mud and straw in order to make the brick. But what did Pharaoh say? Ain't giving you no more straw. Go get your own straw. And you better still make the same amount of bricks you've been making. Go ahead and read on.
At the top left, a worker lifts a mold from a sun-dried brick. At the far right, a worker carries cured brick to the building site. Israelite workers would make...
What kind of workers?
Israelite workers.
Israelite workers here. So now, who are the workers? The one doing the work? They are Israelite. They are dark people. You understand what I'm saying? Now, you know, all the evidence says that they are dog people. Go ahead and read a little bit more.
Israelite workers were making
Bring up picture number 3. Okay, read the caption about that. What does this person here look like to you? Look like a dog man to me, and look like he's doing labor here, doesn't it? And he even bearded as well, isn't it? Go ahead, read.
An Egyptian fresco showing a carpenter at work. Below, a wooden model of Egyptian brick makers. The Israelites were doubtless engaged in such activities when building treasure cities for Pharaoh in Egypt.
Well, we read about them building the treasure city, didn't we? You know, we read that in Exodus, didn't we? Well, how did the people look that was doing the building? This is how they look. That's how they look, just like that. But this is saying that these were Israelites that was doing that. A dog. So what was way back then? And they discovered this tomb in the 1920s. Go ahead and read.
It yielded a breathtaking collection of art objects from the 14th century BC.
Well, that was around the time when Israel was in bondage to the Egyptians. To leave out. And this book deals with when Israel was led out of Egypt. So now, this picture, they discovered it happened around the time of the Exodus. Go ahead and read a little bit what's left there.
Above is a panel from Tutankhamun's throne showing the youthful king speaking to his adoring queen.
Now this is how the king looked and the queen of Egypt looked when Israel was in bondage down in it. These are clearly black people, huh? Ain't them black people? So now, the Egyptians, they are a dark race of people, but we see that the Israelites look just like them, don't they? Let's go to Romans chapter 9, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Romans 9, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. 9 and 1. 9 and 1. That's what Paul the Israelite said about Israel. Start reading at 9 and 1. Go ahead and read.
I say the truth in Christ. I lie not.
Go ahead.
My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Ghost,
that
I have a great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh.
So now he's dealing with natural born Israelites here, isn't he? He said, my kinsmen according to the flesh. Go ahead and read on.
who are Israelites.
Now he said they are Israelites. Go ahead and read.
To whom pertaineth the adoption.
Now he said unto them was given the adoption. Go ahead and read.
And the glory.
And the glory.
And the covenants.
And the covenants. Go ahead.
And the giving of the law.
And the giving of the law. Go ahead.
And the service of God and the promises.
And the giving of the law and the service of God and the promises. Go ahead and read on.
Whose are the fathers.
Uh-huh.
And of whom, as concerning the flesh, Christ came.
Now he's letting you know that Jesus was an Israelite. When he walked around in the flesh, he was an Israelite, and he looked just like all of the other Israelites. Let's go now to Isaiah chapter 5, and we'll pick it up at verse 1. Isaiah 5, and we'll pick it up at verse 1. 5 and 1. You know, the Bible gives a little description of Jesus, and we're going to read it in a little bit. Isaiah chapter 5, and we'll begin reading at verse 1. 5 and 1. 5 and 1. Okay, go ahead and read.
Now will I sing to my beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard.
Wait, who is the beloved? That is Jesus. And it said touching his vineyard, and we're going to find out that Israel is the vineyard. Go ahead and read on.
My well-beloved have a vineyard in a very fruitful hill. And he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof and planted it with the choicest vine. And built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a wine press therein.
Go ahead.
And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes.
Now this having to do with when the Lord brought Israel out of Egypt. And you know, he set them up there, and he did everything for Israel to make certain that they were a prosperous nation. But then when he looked that it should bring forth grapes, what did it bring forth? Wild grapes. You know, you prune something. You do everything, you fertilize it. You do everything to make it produce good fruit. And that is what God did for Israel. But instead, what did Israel bring forth? Wild grapes. Go ahead and read on.
And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah,
go ahead.
Judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it?
Go ahead.
Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes. And now go to, I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard.
Now this is what the Lord said. Since it didn't produce the kind of food it was supposed to produce, therefore this is what I'm going to do with my vineyard. Go ahead and read on.
I will take away the heads thereof, and it shall be eaten up.
Go ahead.
And break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down. And I will lay it waste.
Go ahead.
It shall not be pruned nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. And I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it.
Now he said, in other words, I'm not going to take care of this vineyard anymore. I'm going to just leave this vineyard to itself. I'm not going to take care of it anymore. You know, I was the keeper of the vineyard, but since it brought forth wild grapes, I'm not going to keep it anymore. Go ahead and read on.
For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel.
Now he said, the vineyard of the Lord of hosts, it is the house of Israel. Go ahead and read.
And the men of Judah his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold oppression.
Go ahead.
For righteousness, but behold a cry.
Because that's when the Lord, you know, when he planted it,